Hi there, Perfect Blue here. Well, my first section in the video was directed to Venom Fang X. I basically tried to destroy creationism. However, as Venom Fang X didn't allow me to post a video response and didn't reply to a message which I attached to my video, so I'm going to address this to all creationists. Maybe to jezuzfreek, he seems nice, and because I was recording on my cell phone and it's now recharging, I'm going to leave Venom Fang X to his nice expressions to watch for you. Hi there, jezuzfreek. I'm addressing this video to you because Venom Fang X has simply become the master of censorship and don't allow even to video response videos. So I will post this video to you. I hope you will watch my first video, which I permanently addressed to Venom Fang X, which is a very big mistake. So I will address this video to you, and I will sum up what was in the first video, and also I will leave this window open to any creationist to respond to my nonsense. Okay? So in the first video I gave the example of the mitochondrion, which is very odd compared to the main DNA structure. You see, everything in the human cell is controlled by the main DNA structure. It creates the Golgi separators and controls the reproduction of other parts of the cell. However, the mitochondrion possesses its own DNA structure in itself. And here comes the contradiction. If God created the human cell or designed it, so why didn't he stick to one design and put this DNA in the mitochondrion to the main structure? Well, it doesn't make sense. Or oppositely true. Why didn't God simply separated this giant centralized DNA system and left the parts which are needed, for instance, for the Golgi separators in the Golgi separators and other parts of the cell? Why didn't he make it more efficient? Because basically it would be seriously more efficient if this parts of DNA would be separate. You can imagine this like having all the videos on YouTube in a giant file, and watching it would be very horrific because you would scroll a lot of nonsense to get to the part where you would like to be. And if you have separate files, for instance, from different users or from different conversations, it's very easy to scroll through them and look and find what you need. Well, why didn't God design this little fact? I'm waiting for an answer, and now let's go to part 2, destruction of creationism. Oh, was it destroying creation? Who cares? Now, in the second part, I would like to address the human skeleton system. You have a skeleton system. You cannot deny it. Your skeleton system is inside of your body. Well, we agree both here it is part. I assume it is. There's also the flag of society, but I don't know. So, every human has its bone structure inside of it. And there are also animals which have their bone structure outside of it. It's called an exoskeleton, like insects. Now, if you argue that humans have been designed, then why didn't God foresee such a damage like falling or getting scratched? Well, as you can see from our protective gears like helmets, armor that is outside of our body, even like a middle-aged armor, protects more superiorly than an armor that is inside. Well, if you argue for mounting the most protective gear inside of, why don't we see designed cars which have their out of shell inside of them and all those vulnerable parts exposed, like let's say a car that has all its inner components outside and they're only protected by a thin layer of some cotton? Why don't you see such a design if humans were designed, like you argue for all creation? So why were humans designed, for instance, like cars with or insects for that matter? Because it's not just like it's impossible. Insects were designed in this manner, or they weren't designed, because I don't believe in design. I believe in evolution, so there's a little contradiction. I just tell this from the viewpoint of a creationist, so sorry, I just get a little twisted. Now, in evolution, we know that we have little steps, little mutations, and little abnormalities. And to prove my fact, imagine a grasshopper can jump it was be like 50 times its own size in the air and fall down without taking damage. Similarly, all beetles and other insects, they don't have such an amount of damage. For instance, a human just falls and he's dead. Easily 2 meters and they're massive damage. Compare it to an insect and you look pretty dumb. So why wouldn't a designer design all of its creation with an out of shell? Why put it inside? It's just ludicrous. It doesn't make sense. However, in evolution, it makes perfect sense, because in evolution you can see that the inner structure of, for instance, of a human is just an abnormality, and as you can see, there are variations in the results of evolution. As you can see, this tree, they're outbranching all the species and other stuff. So basically, it works that way. If you have a disadvantage, but you mutate in an advantage manner, for instance, you're intelligent, increases that you can make protective gear or build some weapons, this deficit will be nullified by intelligence to produce such things, or create or use rocks and throw them and saber-toothed tigers, or maybe, I don't know, but it would be very helpful to use that. So in evolution you see, for instance, that insects have a very radical problem with rain, because they simply drown, or water, most of them, because some have developed little skills, but most of them have problems with water. So none of the creation is very perfect. For instance, fish cannot breathe outside of water for a long time. Well, some jump out, but most of them, just if they get pulled out their habitat, they simply die, or like a human who cannot breathe underwater. So you have this specification, and which is very reasonable in evolution. However, this specification doesn't make sense in creationism. Why wouldn't God create all creatures with an exoskeleton to be protected, like some crab, or if you can imagine, or insect? Why not create in this manner? Because imagine you just fall down a 10 feet high building, smash the ground and get up. There's no problem. Or just jump and create incredible distances. Why not create a more superior human in that manner? For instance, like, well, exoskeleton, or other parts like breathing underwater. Why not make them more universal? Why limit the humans so much and other creatures? This is basically my second question. The first one was about the mitochondrions from the first part. I'm going to issue one question per one post, and you can reply to them chronologically. So I'm waiting for your answer, and more even shocking truths and stuff, and also many questions are coming up soon in Destroying Creationism Part 3. Stay tuned and please respond to me. Have a nice day.